Hi, I'm artist Jay Mason and I live in rural mid Wales with my partner Vic Pardoe. I make sculpture out of rubbish. There's some more examples here hanging in the woods. And my partner is an experimental archaeologist amongst other things. And so we explore the way that ancient people did things, as well as staying true to our roots in the old DIY punk rock movement. I recycle clothes. My tatty buys workshop. And we try and live as sustainably as we can by growing our own vegetables and making use of everything that we come across. Make do and mend, like making a two-seater sofa out of a chair and just darning old socks so they last longer. There's some willow in the background, and beans, all the onions have been picked. Leeks are coming on nicely, parsnips are coming on nicely, and lots of lovely pumpkins and rhubarb that needs harvesting. Also make use of discarded objects while planting, and some baby pumpkins. They're much bigger now. I turned the rhubarb into wine, and here is just some of the potato harvest from this year, which is all eaten now. Here's last year's willow harvest, and some old sculptures and new. Of course, none of this stuff is actually rubbish, it's all potential art materials. These are some of the baskets that Vic and I have made under the supervision of master basket weaver Mary Bunny. Wood basket and a basket full of axes. Also, something else you can do with willow is make drawing charcoal. So this is me making a small batch of drawing charcoal, strip the bark off, stick them in a box, metal box with a hole in it. I recycled some paper while I was at it, so the metal box is inside the fire there. I'm using modern tools to make the process much quicker. That paper will now be turned out of those frames and dried. And here is the tin in the fire, all cooked, and charcoal ready to use. And very lovely it is too. This is lots of flint, because my partner taught himself how to flint knap years ago, which is where his interest in experimental archaeology came. So that is actually a hammerstone, and these will be tools. Vic has to import the flint from Norfolk because it isn't found in mid Wales. These are some blades and some arrowheads and a small knife. This reproduction of a Neolithic sickle now lives at the museum at St Fagans. He also uses the stone tools to do carving. Here are some pendants that he made, and I take all his cast-offs and crudely wrap them in wire and make pendants of my own. Here we're bronze casting using the lost wax method. This is weighing out the copper and the tin. The furnace is made out of an old gas bottle, and the bellows is a reproduction of a medieval Japanese design. Making the lost wax moulds involves coating the wax models in clay and then firing the clay to create those clay moulds, which are then broken off to reveal the bronze cast underneath. You can also cast using sand boxes, pressing a former into compacted sand, creating the mould. big reveal is always exciting, and the cleaning process takes some time. Vic's passion is reproduction of ancient artefacts. These reproductions of a local hoard are in the local museum. I bought a new polytunnel this year because the old polytunnel is now just a work shed because the trees have a woodshed because the trees have just grown up so much that it doesn't really get a lot of light. So the winter's wood. And this is our compost toilet. And compost bays. Important to have compost when you're doing the garden to replenish the soil. And this is a hand washing system made out of plastic bottle rainwater. Wash your hands. If you've got access to horse chestnut, that makes a good soap, antiseptic soap. Just the leaves, and put that in the water. This is another one of my sculptures, Cloud. The new polytunnel hasn't got much in it, just a couple of tomatoes, so I won't show you in there. Next year that will come into its own. Milk carton horse's head. What's left of the kiln was driven into by one of my daughter's friends by accident, so we'll have to rebuild it and build another one. I've always loved working with clay, but never had the equipment to pursue my passion. So this year I eventually persuaded Vic to help me build an earth kiln. The mud bricks are made with raw clay, earth and grass. We dig a pit to use the earth as insulation. Fire is built on both ends and gradually moved into the centre where the pots are. When the pots begin to glow, that indicates the clay is turning to ceramic. This usually starts at around 800 degrees centigrade. See cracks forming and smoke coming out. Apparently the pots are glowing inside now. Don't know whether I can get close enough to see. So that is a very brief peek into our lives in rural Mid Wales. I will leave you with Vic's interpretation of the Red Man of Kilbeg, a Bronze Age carving found in a bog in Ireland. He's meant to protect our home from evil.